The Maritime Archaeology Trust are a charity tasked with protecting and promoting maritime heritage, and as well as donating money, the public is encouraged to get hands-on with the conservation work.
We have a bunch of researchers and volunteers, people coming in to help work with the material. We're both showing them and showing them this archaeological material from Bolton Cliff, from the submerged landscapes to the Solent. We're showing them material, and then we're also getting them engaged in doing the actual recording. So they're not only learning, but they're actually providing some useful information for us for the records. Well, the thing is, we're a trust, we're a charitable trust, and we're dealing with the resource. It belongs to the nation, but there's no resources to do much about it. So we work with the public and engage them as much as possible. It's their history, it's their past, and quite often it's overlooked. It's really overlooked because it's underwater most of the time. So people just don't know it's there. They don't understand how rich the underwater archaeology is around this region. What the guys are doing on the table now is they're looking at some worked bits of timber. These bits of timber have been chopped about and reshaped by our ancestors 8,000 years ago. They were building structures, we're not quite sure what. One of them we believe to be a logboat, and it's in amongst a lot of burning, a lot of activity that shows it's something that was happening at the time. So it looks like they were building that logboat. So it's arguably the oldest boat building site in the world.
Many of the sites that the Trust work at have only recently been exposed due to natural erosion, but is human activity having an impact also?
Effectively, it's being washed away by the natural elements. Impact of human beings, well, that's a bigger question. We know these sites have been sitting there for many thousands of years, and it's only in the last, say, couple of hundred that they've become exposed, which suggests there's a human impact there. The underwater archaeology has got a lot to tell us about the past. There are lots of lessons we can get from it to help us understand patterns in the future.
It isn't just ancient artefacts that the Trust is seeking to preserve, but shipwrecks from World War I as well.
We look at all aspects of submerged cultural heritage. We've talked about these submerged landscapes, but in many ways the shipwrecks can be just as significant, particularly the ones in the First World War or the Great Wars. These wrecks, many of them are graves. They were lost in times of trouble. Many people died on board, but they're just forgotten about. We know about the wars, we know about the troubles in the trenches, are all very significant. But quite often, the wrecks, the ship, the maritime aspect of the First World War was overlooked and lost. And now these wrecks are buried beneath the sea, and they're massive and phenomenal, but no one sees they're there. So we're trying to bring them up to the public. We're trying to show people through modelling and photogrammetry, show them what's really down there, and try and highlight the significance of them. A lot of our past, or understanding of past, remains underwater. And remarkably, as you can see from these timbers, it can be very well preserved. So it can give us information like nothing else on land. Our role is to get out to them as much as possible. And to do that, we have education resources online. We also have an educational bus that can get out to hard-to-reach people. It gives people hands-on experience with prehistoric archaeological material and shows them how it's part of their history and their culture and their lives. Well, it's getting people engaged with their past, and their prehistory is a fundamental building block of that past.
And there are plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in maritime conservation.
And we have various projects. We'd like to get people involved as much as possible. Any support is welcome. And then as we develop the projects, to get people down there, get people to actually have a sense of ownership for their heritage is what we want. We want people to see that it is theirs, and then they can need to contribute to it, like we're all doing, contribute to it to help raise our understanding of it. There's a lot more down there, but we can't recover it or discover it or record it without the support of the people and the public and sponsors.
This is Richard Stringer for That's TV.